What's up, everybody? It's Adam Amsterdam.
And it's Peter Henry here from Reza Real Estate Sales Academy and Home 61. We have a special treat for you guys today. Not only do you have us two, but you have the wonderful, handsome Carlos Alger. He is our closing manager, pretty much like the guru of how to close. He is a real estate investor himself, has done a lot of deals, and pretty much he has taken over the entire process of closing here at Home 61 for us. So, today we're going to be talking about as is contingency dates and why they are important and what you need to look out for. So what's up, Carlos? How's it going?
Doing good, guys. How you guys doing?
We're doing amazing, man. You're looking great. You got that big glow. You got that 4:30 p.m. glow. Yesterday was like only 3:30 p.m. Man, this time change is crazy.
True.
But anyways, let's jump right into it. So let's just talk about just walk us through the as is contract contingency dates. Like, what do agents need to know? Like a refresher for agents that have been in the game before, but also give us a refresher, or actually just like lay it down for us. Like, let's say we're a new agent, we just came back to real estate or something like that. Like, what do I need to know once I get that as is contract in and executed? What do I need to know? What are the specific dates that we need to know to make sure that we don't drop the ball and we make sure that our clients like don't lose their deposit?
So it's important to know your contingency dates, right? So there's going to be a couple of sections on it. So we're talking about a typical aspect of a closing. You would have an escrow deposit. That'll be your first part. And then your financing contingency and then your inspection contingency. The importance of knowing your dates is the fact that you are taking care of your client. This will give them a safe little safe net for them in case if they have to get out of the closing, or in case they have to have any leverage in changing anything pertaining to the contract itself, right? It also, facilitates what you would be working with, which is a title company, and if you're doing a financial deal, a mortgage company. So you kind of want the ball to be moving around and getting things done with everybody else in mind, right? So it helps you also touch base with the people that are also involved in this, that are not only yourself and your client, but the listing agent, the seller, the title. Make sure everything gets done on the proper time, because everything is time sensitive when it comes to a close.
Okay. And like, are knowing these dates like, do you kind of need to have them memorized, right? Because like
Yeah.
I'm guessing, like, I'm an agent, right? I'm going out there, I'm talking to my clients, and if I don't really know the dates, it looks like I don't know what I'm talking about. So good luck getting that. Good luck getting them to sign your as is contract. So
Yeah. The idea
are
is to
these
know.
are these the dates that you have lined up here? Are these all the dates that I should have memorized, like exactly what they mean?
You should definitely know what they're about. Yeah, the dates themselves, you just does not worry about the specific date. You can always put that on the calendar, but you should be able to communicate directly to your client so they know the importance of them, right? It's all about educating the client at some point, because most of these clients, they never closed before, right? They've never seen a transaction happen. They don't know the reason why these dates are there, but it's supposed to help them uh, have a safe closing. It helps them facilitate and move forward with the closing. If not, if there's no dates, we have no timeline. If there's no timeline, there's no closing.
Yeah.
It just stays in limbo, right?
And I think a lot of the things that we like talk about, especially on the sales management side of it, like a huge part of our our sales pitch is like, one thing we want agents to always do is get a lot of contracts sent in, because this starts the sales process. And like, if you're gonna lowball or you're gonna try to like play with some offers and some money, you don't know, like, it's all theory until you start putting offers in. But I think like something that's really really important is understanding your cancellation period dates, and like when you're canceling, like all that kind of stuff on the as is you need to know, because you could really, and same thing with like the CTL, actually, the contract
Yeah.
to lease. But like, let's keep it with the as is right now. Like, if you know those cancellation dates, you could really send out a bunch of different types of offers and figure out, price points, how you're gonna do it, and really start getting that game going and seeing who nibbles or who's biting. We don't like nibbles, actually. We want to see who's gonna bite, the
True.
bait. If anyone remembers that nibble joke, it's from I think I Love You Man. He's like, nibbles me don't like you nibbles. Anyways, non sequitur there. So I guess like let's kind of go through each of these dates, and maybe you could kind of tell us exactly what they mean for the
Sure.
for the buyer.
Yeah, for the buyer. So like in representing ourselves, uh, we're representing the buyer in this case, right? So the idea is you want to create a sense of secureness. You want the buyer to know that you know what you're talking about, that you got their back. They don't have to worry about these extra things. What you do is just got to keep it intact, and also creating a sense of perspective of timeline, right? So these are the important dates that we have here: the effective date, deposit date, property inspection, loan approval, and closing date. So we're taking this scenario as if it's a financial deal, right? So it's all contingent to a finance loan. Okay. The
Okay.
effective date itself, it's just the day that we have everybody signed and agree on the contract.
Okay.
So there'll be times where you would have a contract, they'll go back and forth. Maybe you send the contract signed, but then the seller will send it back to you. Let's change the date on this, or let's change that. When everything's finalized with initials, that's the effective date.
So
That's
what?
what we
So
call
what you're
day
saying
zero.
is the actual effective date. Like everybody signs the contract, owner sends back one thing initialed. The buyer actually has to get that initial to execute it.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
So that's the execution date. When everything is pretty much satisfied, we're all
So the effective
initials.
date is essentially the execution date then, right?
Yes, execution
Okay,
date and effective
cool.
date. Yeah.
So effective
Execution.
date, everyone has to agree on it. Once that's there, that's when we execute that contract, and that's the date that everything else follows.
Correct, because everything's going to be contingent 4 days, 5 days, 15 days, 10 days from that day zero, right?
Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah, man.
And then, so like effective date, like say the owner sends back the contract, at 9 p.m. on January 1st, just to make it easy. Is it? What's the effective date? Is it the 1st of January or is it the 2nd of January? I always get confused there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So it'll be the day that they would just receive it. So it'll be kind of like the day that, as an agent, you would literally open up the email and say, like, I received your contract. That's the date.
That's the date.
'Cause
So
that's
it'd
the
be
date of
like,
an
hey, I'm
acknowledgement,
replying
right?
back to you saying this is the day
I
I think
acknowledge.
it's affected. These are my
Yes.
timeline dates. Do you agree? Yes, no. Okay.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's always going to be that over conversation. I received it this day. As per the day I received it, this is going to be the effective date. And then, of course, the listing agreement, the listing agent would agree with that because that's correct. And then you move forward from there. Always, never run with the assumptions of, oh, this is the effective date or not, because that can definitely construe all the rest of your contingency dates if you don't got that effective date agreed upon when receiving.
So then after the effective date, every contract has a deposit. So talk to us about the deposit date. What's going on?
So pretty much, look, to start off, the deposit is just showing that you have some financial interest into it. You're putting some skin in the game. And they are typically expected to have a deposit date of 3 to 5 days. Those days are bank days. So Mondays and Mondays and Sundays are not included, or holidays.
So
Since
I
it's
have
contingency
3 to
of money being
5
set on it.
days, 3 to 5 business days, non-holidays, to put my money in bank days, to put my money in the escrow account, right? To deposit
Correct.
that money there. So let's say like I'm an agent, right? I'm working with a buyer side client, and oh, like, yeah, I like the house. I know it's like 330, but we've been doing our numbers. Let's see if they bite or if they want to talk. But we'll start at like 290, 295. For that client, it's really kind of risk-free to sign the as-is contract and to start negotiating, because you have 3 to 5 days, business days, to get the money in the escrow. So let's say we do it on a Thursday. That really means that I have Thursday, Friday, then I have Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, and I think it will be due on Monday or Tuesday when I would have to put the money into escrow. But I could cancel that anytime. Or let's say, what happens if I miss the deposit date? Does the contract like become null?
Yeah, so the contract will be called null.
Okay.
So the whole idea is, if you don't put in deposit, if there's no escrow letter, technically the seller can tell you otherwise, that this contract was not satisfied because you never presented an escrow letter within the time.
So
They won't go for any deposit, though. That's the best thing about it, right?
From a
don't lose deposit.
salesperson's point of view, right? If I'm trying to, get my client to get into the habit of signing offers and really start to get them to put offers out there and get a sale to close, like, I need to understand how to play with this deposit date and then next segment we're gonna talk about the cancel date. But I need to understand how to tell that to my client that it's risk free. Like, it's all theory until we start putting out offers and seeing what bites. That's true, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much all theory until it gets executed, right?
Okay.
And then if you as the buyer, if you're game, then you put the deposit in. Like, you can put a contract in, even if it's executed, you are still at no risk until the deposit's actually been
Until the deposit
put
is
in.
made. And then I guess take us into the next one, right? So you're at no risk until the deposit date is passed, and then you have, though, from the deposit date or from the effective date, right? Now you also have a right to cancel. So let's say the effective date is September 1st. We deposited the money on September 3rd. Now we have this right to cancel period. Is that right to cancel period bank days as well, or is that just counted days?
Those are counted days.
Okay, so that's the difference between the deposit date or bank days, and then right to cancel period and property inspection. Those are counted days. So that includes holidays and weekends.
That is correct.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their theory is that you can do an inspection on a Sunday, you can do it on a Saturday,
Okay.
or like other ways, you have to wait for a bank.
So this is the really important one, because like I think the first key is we need to use the deposit date to get our clients to risk free. It's free of charge to put in offers, right? Now we get that offer, it comes back, we're talking, we agree on a price. Now we got to put in the money into escrow. Let's say we go money into escrow. The next most important date I need to know is this right to cancel, because it's still risk free until we hit 15 days. So we really need to stay on top of that client and figure out, are we going to go through with this property or are we not going to do it? So what are the things that agents need to look out for during these first 15 days, assuming that their client put in, you know, 20K, 30K, whatever the amount of money it is into escrow, to make sure that they don't lose their client's money or deposit? Because from a sales management point of view, from like where we're sitting, this is like the best time this is like a great time. Like, as an agent, you're almost there, right? Because you got your client to sign the paperwork. Now you got the money in escrow. You got 20, 30, 50, 100K in escrow. Like, your fish is ready to be caught. But like now it's like we don't want to lose that money. So what do agents need to really look out for in this time period, this 15-day time period?
So this is where you would ask as many questions and you start contacting everybody that's associated with this property. So in cases of condos, you start getting in contact with your association. Get yourself a little condo docs, get yourself approved, okay? The other thing you should do is set up a property inspection. Contact your property inspector. Try to do it with enough time leadway for them to do the inspection, for you to receive the inspection, and for you to review the inspection. Okay? Because at the time you have the inspection, you can
What's
also
a good
create
timeline? What is like
Should you start doing
I say
this
2 or
like
3 days.
Should you start doing this once the money hits like once your client puts money in escrow? That's when I need to start calling the property inspector. I need to start calling the association, because sometimes associations, they take forever, right?
They take forever. So not only that, let's say there's something in the association that's, hey, there's an assessment that you did not know about. It's good to know ahead of time that there's an assessment, you know, or they're going to be, you know, remodeling the lobby, or redoing the pool that you're going to be using, you know. I mean, it's one of those things where you get to, you know, a little bit more of the building itself, because you have the rights, because you actually have
Money in escrow.
financial interest in purchasing there.
No, I have a question, Carlos. Like you get as is contracts on the daily executed.
Yeah.
You know, what's the average inspection / right to cancel right now that you've been seeing?
10 days.
10 days.
10 days, okay.
10
So
days has been.
10 days.
So
you know, if
you
they
leave it
go
on
3 days,
yeah,
you're
if you-
basically needing to. You need to schedule the home inspection after the deposit date, but at least get it scheduled at like the day after or the day of the deposit. We're getting that
Yes.
inspection done then. Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to schedule it the day of the deposit and try to get it within 2 or 3 days of the deposit. So
What if sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. Yeah, what if the association just takes forever and they don't respond to you, and now it's like day 14 and like I have to cancel, or like is there a way to extend that? Like what What do we do?
Yeah, I mean, technically, you can extend the property inspection, right? That's
Uh-huh.
something that would be put into an addendum, but it's just one of those things you would have to understand first. You would have to understand if it's the norm for this association to take 30 days, 15 days to get a response, then that might be a red flag off the bat. You know, it's going to probably take a more difficult approach to close this, right, or to get a contact there.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, if you're trying to work a finance deal, because then that's another thing that you have to do for the first five days.
Okay.
Get
So
an
I guess take us
application
right
in.
into kind of like the financing, and then I think the next slide is financing maybe.
Yeah.
There's a couple.
Oh
right there.
yeah, we already jumped some of these.
Yeah.
Hey,
All right.
like we always say, just do it. We're not perfect. It's not the most beautiful thing, but it's better than having nothing, right? So
That's right.
we're now on financing. Can you kind of take us through what we need to look out for
Just
in
real
financing?
quick, I'm just gonna like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
center us. So we have our first contingency date, right? It's our effective date. Then we run into deposit. Right to cancel is 10 to 15 days, and now we're running into our financial contingency date was on average 30. So
30,
we're
that's
basically
correct.
on our fourth contingency date we're speaking of on financing out of 5 here.
Okay, yeah.
So just to center us in, go ahead, Carlos.
Yeah, make sure you
Yeah.
at home are taking notes.
Yeah, and one of the main things that people oversee that when it comes down to the financing contingencies is the loan approval period. Now you have 5 days to submit. I'm sorry, the loan finance application dates. You have 5 days to submit an application
Are you saying 5 days from effective date?
from effective date.
Wow.
From
Okay.
effective date.
And is this like
So-
applying for the loan, like all documents in, I sign,
It's pretty much.
and like,
It's just pretty much putting an application in.
okay.
Literally saying like, I'm going to work with this company. Here's my name. Here's my social. Go pull my records. That's
Great.
it. I mean, if they eventually they would ask for more information. You know, W-2s, any documents that they specifically would need in regards to proving that you're a resident or a citizen. But the initial application is pretty much, you can show it's a first contact of a mortgage lender. Because every time you work with a mortgage lender, they're going to ask you, fill out this buyer application. That's the application we're talking about,
Okay. And that needs to be done within 5 days.
within 5 days.
So that's within 5 days, and then the loan approval period is that counted days, like we were talking about with the deposit. I mean, with
Yes.
the right to cancel.
With the right to cancel, yes,
Gotcha.
it's yeah. And I highly focus on those 5 days because for some reason, if it shows that you did not attempted to put an application within the first 5 days, it shows that you're not doing good effort, due diligence in trying to get a loan. So
Okay.
therefore, if there's for some reason you get denied, they can come back and the seller can be like, well, did he even try to get a loan?
Mm-hmm.
Show us the application date.
And then if you didn't try to get a loan, say you applied 8 days, what could happen to your deposit? Is that deposit, could
Yeah.
that hinge on anything? Could we lose the deposit if
Yeah.
we cancel the contract?
Yeah, so cancel the contract because there's a now can show that you didn't put forth good faith effort
Gotcha.
to get a loan, right?
So this one's
And then
pretty
it would
easy.
avoid that contingency itself.
So this one's pretty easy. This is execute a contract. Before, basically, if you're going to put a deposit down, you're going to need to be fully applying for the loan with the
Yeah.
exact address, etc.
Correct.
Got you. And as
Might as
long
well
as
just
you
put that in
apply, you're good to go within 5 days. And then basically the mortgage, the mortgage guy kind of just runs through their finance scenario, and you're there to kind of make sure it goes through.
Correct.
Got you. So what's the next one here? Oh, you're back.
I'm back.
There you are. Where'd
Thanks
you-
for getting out.
Yeah.
Welcome back, bud.
Awesome. Yeah, take us through these other dates, I guess. Like I know,
Yeah.
I know there's surveys and you left us.
So basically, just to kind of like, I guess sum it up because we're going on the other dates. So yet again,
Yeah.
first date effective, deposit, right to cancel / inspection, and if we have a financing that's like 30 days. If cash, we don't have that date, obviously. And then
Correct.
last of all is closing date. So
yeah.
now we're just going to kind of be talking about the other kind of dates that will fall into play in different scenarios.
Yeah, in this case it'll be title and
I know, I'm not worried.
just documents that we're talking about, closing docs. So title search would have to be turned in or satisfied 10 days before closing. Okay.
Yeah.
So the way we usually work, and I tell my agents to do, is once you have confirmation through inspection that you approved your inspection, it can be at the inspection period or before that, have title do the search. That way they can get their, the mortar,
And I
the
think you're
machine
kind of
going.
alluding to something
Okay.
too, because we do deals a lot together, and I'm just gonna like put it out there. Like, what are you kind of
Yeah.
alluding to there of having the title start after the inspection date?
So I'm alluding because sometimes you can have them doing before
Yeah.
or during, but I don't suggest that in case something comes up, you will be charged for the title search. You don't want
Got you.
that, knowing that after you do an inspection that you're not going to forego with this closing. So it saves you a little bit of money in that sense. And again, title can be done within 20 days, 21 days.
Awesome.
So it would work in your time frame of during the inspection or after inspection that you move forward with that.
Are there extensions that agents can do for any of these dates, or are they kind of hard dates? Like if you miss them, you're kind of SOL and you have to start over again.
No, to be honest with you, you can just do an addendum pretty much for anything. You can extend it as long as you do and execute the addendum of the extension before the date of deadline.
Got you. So you can't try to extend it after the date's already passed.
Before the date of the deadline. But that also extends their right to cancel your contract at any time. Let's say another offer comes in that's higher or all cash.
Correct. You're running the risk where they would say, no, I'm not going to sign that extension. Let it expire.
Yeah.
Here's your deposit. I'm taking the deal. So that's why it's, you'll start losing leverage when you're not on time. So this is why it's important to have your contingency dates and be on time on these duties as a real estate agent that you have
And it's kind
to
of why
move
you're
this closing going.
And it's kind of why you're in the role you're in, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
to
'cause-
make sure it closes, they're there. We hit all these areas and make sure every client's kind of taken care of. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
And so our agents can go out and prospect, right?
Yeah, like
Get
that.
out there and go find other deals for other clients.
That's a benefit of working at Home 61, honestly. But I mean, for let's say an agent that's not at Home 61, because we do have people from, Remax, Compass, Reology, like tons of different companies that watch our stuff. What do you like? They need to stand because they don't have access to a closing manager, let alone a transaction coordinator. Like they're kind of like on their own. So like, what do those agents need to do? Like, should they set calendar dates, or like they just need to kind of memorize these dates and really understand it because it's part of their pitch. It's part of their deal.
Yeah. Ideally, what they should do is break down what we do here, in some sense, right? Break down those dates out of your contract, and each date set up a deadline in your calendar, 24 hours before, as a reminder.
Okay.
You don't want to do it the day of. You want to do it with at least 24 hours of time to be aware of, this is coming up. What is needed, in case you forget, of course, what is needed to satisfy this contingency? Because it also gives you, for some reason, you're not going to meet that deadline, for you to at least prepare an addendum, and gives you enough time for your seller and buyer to get that addendum executed, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, you would have to use a lot of different platforms on top of that,
Makes
not
total
only your
sense.
calendar as notifications, but keeping at least a portal to have all those documents in one place.
I mean,
another
honestly,
feature that
like
we
it's blowing my
provide.
mind. Like I guess like my suggestion to those agents would be to look for a brokerage or to find someone to partner up with that can take this load off of you. Because like you as a salesperson, you need to go out there and sell your product and be like in your client's face. And like, yes, you need to know the dates. Yes, you need to stay on top of them. And that's kind of like the point of this. Like, you need to know the dates. You need to stay on top of them. But what our agents, at least at Home 61, don't have to go through is also the work, because you, like Carlos, are handling all of that. You have your own like tech and all this other awesome stuff, and you kind of facilitate that communication. So I think that our agents are kind of like very lucky, and they live in a fantasy land. But like for you other agents out there, you need to find that kind of support. Maybe it's joining a team. Maybe it's seeing if your broker can help you out with finding like a transaction coordinator. Maybe you bring one into the office, because it's going to really, really help elevate your career from like here to like up there, right? So I think that it's super important. But you need to know the dates. Whether you have a closing coordinator or not, the transaction coordinator, you need to know those dates, because if not, you're going to screw yourself.
And then just hitting surveys and everything. Oh no, just real quick, insurance. When's a good time to be checking up on insurance? Because financing, you gotta have it, right? Like,
Yeah.
what's a good timing for insurance to be
So
looking
if-
for one?
So if you're looking for insurance, it's definitely something that does not cost to you because you're just going out there and getting the quote, right?
Yep.
So I would definitely say once you have once you already have the application sent out and you decide who you're going to work with on the mortgage side is when you start looking for insurance.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And like insurance, you know, when I'm going out and I'm getting my client to get insurance, like what do most insurance companies, what are they asking from me up front to quote?
So
is it
what
like the inspection report, stuff like that? Like
they would technically what they'll do is they just pull out the address. They get all that information. They have their own portal between insurance companies where you put the address up and then it shows you what they're mostly focused on is condition of the actual property itself from the outside, from a permitting aspect, right? And the flood zone in the area that's in. They'll give you a quote from there. What you have to do as a client, or in this case, sometimes agents do this, is review that. Confirm that they're covering everything. Confirm that they're not covering extra stuff that doesn't exist. I've seen times they'll cover trampolines in the backyard. Well, there's no trampoline in the backyard. Or a carport. Or
there's no
shed.
carport.
You know? So those are things that you just want to be aware of, you know?
Awesome.
Make sure your client gets the best price.
And then surveys, what's up with surveys? Why do we want to do them with single family homes here? Especially kind of like in Miami and Broward.
So the idea with surveys is just pretty much confirming this is the land that you own.
Yeah.
That there's none of this disparity of like, oh, the fence is actually on my neighbor's side, you know?
Or vice versa, the neighbor installed
on
the
your
fence a
side.
foot over and the owner didn't tell you that they basically gave him a foot of land all the way down the strip.
Correct. And this is the proper opportunity to do it. I mean, you're not going to do it when you live in there. You just kind of want to do it before you purchase the property. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. And what do we got?
What do we got next?
Let's see.
We were
already
doing
kind of went
scenarios.
through it. Let's see.
Yeah, these are good. I mean, run us through these tips because I think you kind of mentioned them, but let's kind of, I think to end it, we're kind of talking a lot.
Yeah,
let's,
it's almost 30 minutes here.
Let's run the, let's just go through the tips. Like, I know we have never waived the Home 61 inspection for financing deal. Like, let's just real quickly run through why these are kind of important tips, and then we'll kind of sum it up.
So definitely the first tip, narrow waive. The whole idea of that is that you would always have an out that you're sure about. That's going to be 100% refundable.
Yeah. And another thing about the inspection period that we kind of forgot to hit, and this is why we kind of talk about the tips, is when you have an inspection period, you have a right to reinspection. So you get to re-inspect the property before closing as well, which is really great. And if you have no contingency period, no reinspection. That house could be burnt down. You still got to buy it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know?
That's also true.
So we need to do that. Make sure you guys remember that. Reinspection.
Caveat.
I want to have that house burning down on you. Or a hurricane
Again.
And then we kind of talked about this, right, Carlos?
Yeah, always have that extension before the deadline. You know, some people, they wait for it or the day of. You know, at that point, you lose leverage. You know,
Scary.
Definitely stay in contact with your title company, with your mortgage lender. So one of the things that we do here, Home 61, is we send out a closing intro where we have the whole team in one email with all the contacts. So everything flows together. Everybody knows what's going on. Even though you may not be part of that initial conversation that you need to be a part of, but you do know what's going on with the lending aspect of it or the title search or survey that's being pushed out. Okay?
Yeah.
And then the commitment letter is also important. If you do get a commitment letter or approval letter, that needs to be shared with the listing agent. If not, then your contingency is also, even if it's a denial, well, if it's a denial letter, even more important. If you don't share that with the listing agent before the deadline, and they say you share it to afterwards, it doesn't matter. It has to be before the deadline that needs to be shared.
Got it.
And just to do a follow-up on the title and surveys. Those are things that sometimes they might be optional, but I would always suggest, the survey specifically, suggest to do it. And following up with the title company, some people feel like, oh, I'm bothering them, they're doing a job. No, you know, it's not a big deal. You know, they're the experts, you're not. Ask as many questions as you have to.
Yep.
You know, don't be ashamed of like, oh, what is this or what is that? No, ask.
Yeah.
You're not entitled. You know, they would freely ask you and with no
I mean, if
no
you're
ifs or
afraid to
buts.
ask, right? Yeah, and
Yeah.
you shouldn't be in sales, honestly.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
people.
Like-
I've had agents. You know, kind of ask, is like, so what does this mean? What do I need here? It's like, you know what? Ask the title company. They will explain it to you better because they're the professionals of why this has to be this
Yeah.
way, and how is this going to work afterwards. They're there to serve you. People forget about that. You know, we're paying title companies to serve us, and in a way where if we have questions, they should be able to answer us.
Awesome, man. Well, I'll
Yeah,
kind of
man.
let Peter just sum this one up. I think this was a pretty good video, super informational.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I
Ve-
guess we'll
very
just
cash.
end it on like, just don't be afraid, right? To ask these questions. Like, you need to ask questions all the time, and like you said, like the title companies are there to serve you. That's why you're paying them. That's why like, don't be afraid. If you're paying for something, you need to make sure that you get all the stuff out of it. That you're getting your bang for your buck, and like. The title company's not going to pay you. No, you're not going to get paid until this deal closes. So, honestly, don't be afraid. Ask for the business. Talk to people. Make sure you're on top of these contingency days because, you know, watching this video is great and going through our manual and our other trainings. But, honestly, it's got to come from inside here. It's got to come from you to want to know that because then you'll have that passion to understand what these dates are. And you'll be able to then show that you know the as-is contract like the back of your hand. Back, not front, back of your hand. And you'll be able to really kill it. But
hey, we got a 30-minute on contingency dates. We have a 25-minute on the entire as-is contract. I think these two videos should really really be great for our team.
And you gotta
we're
put
at
everything
621.
on Instagram, like I'm doing right now. We're here, and this is a little video of all of us for the Instagram at our setup. So we're kicking butt. Make sure you watch this video when it comes out, and subscribe to home61.com and YouTube Real Estate Sales Academy. Reza, be there, be square.
Yeah, for
Carlos,
sure.
tell them to subscribe.
Subscribe, guys. We got to reach 100 views, 100 subscribes.
Let's do
And
it,
100
guys.
views,
We can
too.
do
Let's
it.
get
Come
that.
learn about contingency dates. And until next time, Adam, Peter, and Carlos signing off.
Have a great one, guys. It's
Have a good
Adam
one, guys.
Amsterdam.
Peter Henry, and
Carlos Alger.
Real Estate Sales Academy.
Yeah.
Make sure you subscribe, hit like, and watch all the videos.